Are you a single woman over 35, dreaming of love, marriage, and motherhood, but the wait has been longer than you expected? Welcome to While I Wait podcast. I'm your host, Courtney Steele, and together we'll explore how to embrace this unique chapter of life. We'll transform this season of waiting into a journey of self-discovery, joy, and preparation to help us live fully now while preparing for the love and life we desire. So let's dive in. There's so much to do while we wait. Hi, I'm Courtney, and I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad we are here. This project has been on my heart for some time now, and I'm nervous, but oh so excited to bring it to life. It's time. I received confirmation about this podcast in so many ways. From posts on social media, random conversations with people, even one lady sitting beside me looked at me and out of the blue said, "Courtney, you should start a podcast." I was shook. I cornered her later on and I asked, "Why did you say that? Where did that come from?" She gave me a very relaxed answer, saying she thought I'd be good at it, thought I had a nice voice and I was funny and she would enjoy listening to what I had to say. I told her about my idea and she got excited, and she knew 3 or 4 people who would tune in, including herself, a married woman. I kept getting confirmations. I started seeing the word wait everywhere. I knew I had to birth this podcast soon because the confirmations kept coming and they were getting more and more intense. Like contractions. I felt pressure to get my podcast out there. And then, if you let me tell the story, the Lord literally shut down the whole South for me with a historic snow day that turned into an entire snow week, just so I could take the time to focus on my podcast and get it published on this day, my deadline, January 24th, 2025, which also just so happens to be my half birthday. So this is my gift to the world, the While I Wait podcast. In the business world, they tell you good businesses find a problem and solve it. Or they tell you to find an audience, identify a problem they have, and then solve it. I've thought about this motto for years, looking and searching for a problem to solve that could be my $1 million idea, but I just couldn't find one I connected with. Then, one day, I realized there was an audience that I was already a part of that no one was addressing. There was a community of people that was kind of growing, and yet everyone was ignoring. When I looked at my circle of friends and the people that I was around and worked with, most of them were a part of this group, and yet we didn't speak to one another about it. This community I discovered that had been there all along is the community of single women. It was like if we don't address it, then maybe it doesn't exist, or people won't notice, or we will get out of it sooner, and we'll just be fine. But in actuality, if we talk about it with one another and create our own community, we will all be better for it. I have some boss babe single friends who are beautiful and successful, and we have so much going for ourselves, and we share in our joys and struggles, and that makes us better for it. Now, through this podcast, we have an opportunity to grow that community even more. So here we are. The While I Wait podcast is live and the journey begins. The mission of this podcast is to provide a community dedicated to single women 35 plus, where 3 ideas are reinforced. Number 1, you'll hear me say this time and time again. There is nothing wrong with you. Number 2, time is not running out. And number 3, your single season is a season of growth, joy, purpose, self-discovery, and self-development, not lack, loneliness, and lovelessness. We'll discuss these further as we dive deeper into this podcast. So, who's this podcast for? I think it's important to define a few things and clarify some of the language I'll be using in this podcast. Now, I'm a transparent person, and to be 100% honest with you, when the Lord brought me the idea of this podcast, I was originally thinking of speaking with single women just like me. Women who were single, Black, over the age of 35, who had never been married, never had children, but strongly desired both. But as I researched and thought about it and prayed about it and talked to those close to me about it, I realized there were a lot of people who were single under varying circumstances. There were the widowed, the divorced, and those who were single but with children. And they needed community too. So I extended the idea in my audience to include all single ladies, and together we make up the Single Sisters Tribe. And being a part of this tribe does not mean we're trying to stay single forever or that we don't need no man. That devil is a lie. No, being a part of this tribe just provides you with community and helps us enjoy this season and make the most of it while we wait. But that's not to say other people and groups can't find value in this podcast. As we get past these introductory and foundational episodes, the meat of this podcast is about living life right now and becoming the best version of yourself in the season you're in, and that can go for anyone in any season. So everyone is welcome. Married women, men, people who don't desire marriage or children, those younger than 35 or older than 35, our senior saints. Anyone that wants to come can, but my language, my heart, and my focus will always be geared towards my single sisters. Did you know 34.9% of women aged 18 and older are unmarried in the United States? This is according to the 2020 U.S. Census and American Community Survey. This includes women who have never been married, who are divorced, and who are widowed. I wanted to break down and see the percentage of women 35 plus who are unmarried, but my math ain't mathing like that. So if anyone wants to look into that data, you can shoot me an email at whileiwaitpodcast@gmail.com. Society has taught us to be ashamed of our single season, to rush through it, that the longer you're in it, the more something is wrong with you. But I'm here to show us how valuable this season is, first as individuals, and for the future people, wives, and mothers we wish to be. One of the unique factors about this podcast, you may have already noticed, is I use us and we a lot. That's by design. The beauty of this podcast is that this is a podcast for us. I am in my single season too. I am on this journey with you. I'm in the same boat at the same time as you are. So the advice I give, the guests I bring on the show, and the challenges we take on, they're for me too. I'm not giving you anything that I'm not going to use myself. We are in this and going through this together. So what should you expect? This will be a mixed format podcast. Sometimes it will be just me sharing my heart, experiences, and the lessons I've learned. Other times I'll bring on a guest to share their perspectives and to get advice from subject matter experts. And there will be some interactive challenges and homework for us to complete. Again, this is a journey, so I'll be doing these with you. We are in this together. You can also expect me to show up genuinely, authentically, and truthfully. I know we've all had enough of the fake and the phony. That's not me and that's not my style. I'll be showing up authentically, and I ask you to be true, genuine, and authentic with yourself. I want to wrap up this episode on this note. Remember, 1, there is nothing wrong with you. I've said it before, I'm going to continue to say it again. I'm proud of us for choosing not to settle for anything and for patiently waiting on the one God has for us. 2, you still have time. I truly believe we are in the middle of a major transition and more people will get married later and this will become the norm. This is for various reasons that we can talk about later. But as we continue to grow this community, you'll learn there are way more people like you than you think. And if I'm really honest with you, I'm really grateful that my husband gets to find me in this more mature, more secure, more demure version of myself. So remember, there's nothing wrong with you. You still have time. And lastly, we are making the most of this special single season. This is a journey of self-discovery, an opportunity to learn who you are and be a whole and healed person before adding anyone else to the equation. This is a journey that scares me. It's going to require me to be vulnerable about things I'm not used to talking about with people who I'd otherwise never talk to. I'm going to have to be consistent and show up for you and myself. And lastly, at the end of the day, I don't know how this will turn out. I don't know where this journey will take me or us or what's going to happen. I just know I had to be obedient and start. This podcast is a part of my process and progress, just as much as my husband finding me is. It scares me, but it also excites me. And I'm thankful now to have been tasked with this assignment. I'm grateful you are going on this journey with me as we work on ourselves individually and collectively. Remember, don't be so focused on the ending that you miss the journey getting there. Your single season is a part of your self-development. This is just as important as you becoming the woman, the wife, the mother, the person you desire to be. Take full advantage of the time, and in doing that what you are called and created to do, I'm sure your husband or your desired result will find you. Thank you for joining me on While I Wait. If this mission resonates with you and you're eager to be a part of the Single Sisters Tribe, hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at While I Wait Podcast for daily encouragement, community connections, and exclusive behind-the-scenes content. I'd love to hear your thoughts and topic suggestions, so also leave those in the comments below. Stay tuned for next week's episode, where we'll explore what it really means to wait, and I'll share more of my personal story. Remember, new episodes release every Friday. This is Courtney Steele signing off. Until next time, keep thriving.